Welcome to the Church Solutions Podcast, brought to you by JSL Solutions. The Church Solutions Podcast is designed to help equip you and your church in the use of technology and other tools and services. And now, here are your hosts, Steve Lacy and Phil Thompson.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Church Solutions Podcast.
Hi, my name's Steve Lacy, and who are you?
Who am I? I am Phil Thompson. We've only been doing this for 4 or 5 years, so give us a break.
I've gotten used to following your introduction.
I'd like to change it up every once in a while, just to keep you on your toes.
Just keep me on my toes. Let me know when I'm supposed to start talking, huh?
Yeah.
All right, great.
Good. So we are a tech company that works with churches, ministries, been doing this for a long, long time. We like to help churches and ministries use technology, and that's kind of what we do. We talk a lot about different things, and today we are going to talk about the state of the internet.
Yes, the state of the internet. It was going to go away, right? It was just a passing fad.
Yeah, it was. The internet was going to disappear, and it hasn't gone away. This is we got some stats here posted by Lauren Hunter, and Lauren does a good job at looking at some stats. I think these stats are important because if you're involved in ministry in any capacity, it's just good to know some of these stats and look at them, and also see, you know, as we talk a little bit about social media and streaming on social media and those kind of things, it's probably helpful to know the different platforms and all that good stuff.
Right, exactly. So I mentioned that the internet was a fad. I think I mentioned to you, I had a friend that he actually does feel like the internet will be going away. So
okay.
I have a hard time relating to that logic. But
yeah.
Anyway, he may very well prove us all wrong. So
well, I don't know. Maybe eventually it will when the something crazy happens. But you've been on the internet since the late 1980s, right?
I have. Yes, before there were internet browsers. Yes, way back when, completely nerding out because we were, in the aerospace business and we needed to communicate via the internet. So.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Good for you. So you got a lot of experience with it. So what we're gonna go ahead.
It's a good thing I got exposed to it and learned a skill there because I'm still using it today.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to talk a little bit about comparing internet usage from the last 10 years, from 2008 to 2018. And we're going to, on some of these, we've got a ton of stats here by Lauren. We're going to break some of these down, age, gender, the region, income, race, education, if we can get to it and not bore you to death. But hopefully this will definitely help you.
So let's just jump into the ones that you would expect. And right now, the 18 to 29-year-olds, this is 98% of 18 to 20. I don't know of anything that 18 to 29-year-olds that would have 98% participation in.
Yeah, and you see almost the same with people 30 to 49, 97% as compared to 84% 10 years ago. Those 50 to 64, again, way up, 87% use the internet, growth in the internet, I should say. And then the 65 plus, according to this stat, and again, I'm confused here because what she said earlier and what this national internet use growth, the 65-year-olds, it's up 66% as compared to 2008. That was 38%. So
38%, and that seems reasonable to me.
Yeah, that seems more along the lines. Females are using the internet about the same as males.
All right. So I guess the biggest jump here is in the 65 and older group.
Right.
Which a lot of our church audiences have. I mean, that may be the largest, the 50 plus for a lot of churches is the most predominant demographic in a lot of churches. So it's important, and a lot of, when we just started getting involved with this, we would talk with churches and say, well, our church is older, and so we don't need any of this internet stuff. They wouldn't know how to use it, and And this is kind of, I really did get that. They don't have computers, they're not on the internet, they don't have smartphones. I guess probably smartphone usage is where the big
Yeah,
jump is
I would say so.
with the seniors. I know, just, I guess with the seniors, I guess I qualify now as a senior. I'm getting used to that.
Well, you're old, I guess, aren't you? Gosh, it's a good thing I'm so much younger than you.
Yes.
I'm being facetious here. I'm actually older than Steve, so let's not get into that. Yeah, so you've got and then people that, I don't know if we want to get into this, but internet users by income, uh, it's continues to go up obviously everywhere, and those that own or over 75,000, according to this stat, 98% of the people that earn over 75,000 are using the internet. 97%, 50 to 74,000. Those who earn less than 30,000 a year, still there's 81% of those people that use the internet. So again, it might be a smartphone thing. I don't know. Education. Again, you see, the more education you have, the higher usage of the internet, which I think would make sense, right? I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Uh,
Yeah, and these are adults, right? So
Yeah, these are adults. And then when we talk about the different areas of where you talk about urban, suburban, rural areas, still high percentages. Urban leads it. People live in an urban area up from 75% in 2008. Currently, 92% of the people use the internet if you're in the urban area. If you're in the suburban area, 90% of them use the internet, as compared to 77 10 years ago. And then rural, which is going up as well, not quite as high, but 78% of the people in the rural communities are now using the internet, whereas back in 2008, 10 years ago, 63%. And so I think this is, again, the trend just continues. The growth just continues to go up. And then, we can begin to jump into some social media stuff if you want to now, because that's also an indication of people being online and using social media.
yeah, I think, just with regards to how things have changed over the years, a lot of people are cutting the cord, and the home phones have all gone away. These are just some of the trends. And as you regard the most important utility that comes to your home or comes to you, with a lot of the people that I associate with, internet would be like the top of the list. They said, the water's out, no problem. I can go a couple of days without bathing or getting my yard done, or the lights or electricity goes out. I can get by, but the internet goes away.
Oh no,
then you've got a real serious problem.
We're in trouble. We have no internet. Yeah, that is interesting. And people are, as you said, cutting the cable, literally the cable. A lot of people are getting rid of cable TV now, and they're using apps like Roku and Hulu and Netflix.
I think I don't know if we have some stats here on Netflix, but Netflix has just been dominating and growing like crazy. I think it's over the past 5 years or so. So.
Yeah, we can certainly get to that in a moment or so. Hope we can get into that a little bit. So, social media. Most of the people using social media today are females. Wouldn't you say that? If you look at these stats, there's one exception, and that would be LinkedIn, which is
right.
business social media app. And according to this stat, 25% male and female are using LinkedIn compared to higher numbers on more of the popular ones. More females are on Facebook. Go ahead.
More females in Facebook, more females in, some of these are not real surprising. Right. Just as you go around, like Pinterest is 2 to 1.
I remember when I actually got on Pinterest, and I felt like I'm the only guy on this thing. And I'm not really on it. I have an account, but I'm not really on it so much. I'm a little surprised with Instagram that according to this stat, it's 39% female and 39% male are using Instagram. Again, I would think that, there'd be a little more female on Instagram. And by the way, we're mentioning this because, again, for your church or your ministry, you should be aware of these things. More churches are using Instagram now.
All right. One of the things that, Craig pointed out when we were doing our webinar series is you need to be where your people are at.
Yep.
And you need to adjust to what they're doing. It's no longer valid to say, well, gee, I'm going to go this route because, this is the way we've always done it. You need to be in tune with, what your people are doing, what they're using, and get into that environment.
Yeah, so, absolutely. And, you can look through that all throughout Scripture. If you look at our tradition, I mean, Jesus went to where the people were. His apostles went to, disciples went to where the people were. And you see that even in the Old Testament. And I think you can still take that philosophy into today's world. I mean, people are on social media. So where are they at? And find out where your people are at and get there and meet them. So,
right.
So yeah.
So just looking at the social media, just by platform, Facebook still dominates. Mm-hmm. I think Instagram is probably coming on very strong.
Yes.
And will eventually surpass that. And Facebook is they don't have a demographic by age, or do they? Yeah, they do. So there's, the Facebook is your parents' social media now, and the kids are doing something else. One that surprises me here, just as we're looking at things. So, Facebook is 74% of all women, 62% of all men. I can see that. And then the rest of the, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, Snapchat are in the 20s and 30s, 20, 30%. But the one that kind of jumped out at me was this YouTube.
Yep.
YouTube, 75% of men and women are on YouTube.
Yeah, the men just edge out that according to this stat. They're on there 75% to 72%. Yeah, YouTube's definitely out there, and again, we would encourage churches to put your archives on YouTube. I think that's a good place to put them. Of course, YouTube can be a little problematic. You're going to get other stuff usually mixed in there when somebody goes to watch your video. There may be some other things that maybe aren't comfortable introducing some of your people to. I don't know. And of course, people can stream to YouTube. And we have a lot of customers that work with us, streamingchurch.tv, and also stream to Facebook and stream to YouTube. And again, as we've talked about before, those other social medias platforms can be problematic, depending on if they don't like a song that you've got on there, they can shut you down. If they feel like you violated something, even if you really have not violated anything, sometimes that can be a problem.
Yeah, that's a chief complaint with ministries that are live streaming to YouTube is all of a sudden the stream's gone and they've taken you down and they're like, oh, I've got my CCLI license, hey, let me show that to them. And it's just an automated system that's going through and sampling what's coming across, and then it goes, oh, I recognize that song, and that's not from the the original publisher, and so we're going to turn this thing off. So,
yep. So and they don't, and that's and I guess you can protest it, but I don't know. It takes a while, right?
Yeah, you can go through, but then the issue is you're playing different songs each week. I know we run into that because we do automatically archive the archives up to YouTube. So, and they will, block certain content almost always based on music copyright issues.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So I'm going a little slow here. I didn't realize where did you want to jump into here?
We might want to look a little bit about streaming. So let's talk a little bit about national video and live streaming usage. And again, what we're going to talk about here is mostly personal stuff here. We mentioned, the social media, but personal in the sense that we do have obviously people that, we give people the ability to stream to Facebook Live, as they're streaming to us, streamingchurch.tv. And of course, when I say stream to us, where people can embed their streamingchurch.tv video platform on their website or other places. But they can also stream to Facebook Live. But these next set of stats, most of them are talking about, me walking around with my phone and wanting to do a Snapchat or something, or a Periscope or something like that, like me walking the dog. I remember Periscope first came out. So Periscope is an app that you can put on your smartphone, and now it's owned by Twitter, right? Did I get that right?
Yes, I think Twitter purchased.
Yeah. And so I remember I did a live Periscope as I walked my dog, and, people are watching my dog walking around and, being on fire hydrants and all that stuff. And I had 5 or 6 people within the first minute, 5 or 6 people watching this. I had nothing. The content was nothing spectacular. It's just my dog. And so 17% of the folks out there, they're viewing Facebook Live.
Right. So, yeah, and they've got a cross section across all the different apps here, but it's in that same region. 15% of people are viewing live streams across the various, Snapchat, YouTube, Periscope.
Snapchat, Periscope. Meerkat. I mean, I thought Meerkat was dead. Isn't Meerkat dead? I don't think Meerkat even exists anymore.
I think it may. It was the pioneer. It was before Periscope. It was but I don't know if it's gone away or not. One of the interesting stats in here is that that streaming video accounts for 2/3 of all internet traffic.
Yeah.
And is expected to be 82% by 2020.
And that's just another year or two away.
Wow.
Wow.
So 2/3 of all internet traffic is video transmission.
And video, and this goes without saying, but anything you post that's a video generally gets more lifespan than something that's a non-video. So if you're posting an image, which is still good, but if you're just posting a one-liner or a couple things, people are going to be more attracted to video.
Yeah, I mean, there's a stat here: 80% of audiences would rather watch a live video than read a blog, and 82% prefer video to social posts.
Yeah,
so
interesting.
It's just so easy to consume video than it is to, read the post. So, and this is a trend that's just continuing.
Yeah, it's moving on, and again, as just can't emphasize this enough. Where are your people? Those of you listening to us that are pastors, volunteers in the tech world, working in ministry and churches. So, let's ask you the question: where are your people? What are they at? What's their favorite app? Where do they congregate? Facebook, Twitter, YouTube.
And here's another interesting stat for the churches out there, is that people prefer they will watch a live video 3 times longer than they'll watch an on-demand video. So if something's going on live, they'll stick around and watch, as opposed to an on-demand video. They'll go, I'll give it a few minutes and then I'm off doing something. But if it's live and I know it's live, they're going to stay tuned.
Very interesting. That's an interesting stat. Yeah. Wow, good stuff. So probably wrap this up, but one thing you mentioned a little bit about Netflix, and there is a stat here on Netflix. Netflix growth in global Netflix subscribers in 2012, they had a lot. They had 26.48 million people globally. Guess what it is now?
Wow, almost 5 times that.
125 million subscribers to Netflix now. That's pretty amazing. And of course, they have their own channels. They have their own programs now, even stuff that's produced, for Netflix. But very interesting stuff.
Second place, Amazon Prime at less than, a lot less than Netflix. And then Hulu's in behind Amazon Prime. I thought Hulu would be above that, and then HBO Now and Showtime trailing far behind.
Yeah, interesting stuff there. So I don't know. I still think the internet is here to stay. I guess there's some people that dispute that, but I think it's here to stay. And I think it's not only here to stay, but I think it's going to continue to grow.
Yeah,
And
and especially as I mean, the typical stats about, we were on dial-up, and then we got fast internet, and then we got what I consider really fast internet, and we're going through that with our phones now. I mean, 5G is going to be incredible, so we're going to see some real changes and a real, I think, proliferation of the internet as it becomes even more easy and mobile, to be able to get really fast connections.
Where do you think this is going? And I just, part of me wonders, I mean, and this is probably going to scare a lot of people when I say this, but part of me wonders, is there going to be a time in our, maybe not in our lifetime, my lifetime or yours, but is there going to be a time where people will just be connected, walking around, and they're connected? I mean, we're already connected with our smartphones and our smart watches and those kind of things, but will there be something set up where you will have the option to have something, and this is going to scare some people, but where it's something that's maybe implanted, where you could just be connected in your brain or something? I mean, seriously, I mean, I know that sounds far out, but I mean, it's kind of the way we're going almost. And I don't say that to scare people, but it probably would. But I mean, it sounds science fiction, right? That sounds really like science fiction. But I mean, you think about it, 30 years ago, what we're talking about now sounds like science fiction.
Oh, yeah.
So
definitely.
Bizarre stuff. But
yeah, who knows? But I think digital world is going to exist for lots of people for a very long time. And we're kind of in the beginning stages of seeing the adaptation of people moving to embrace it. So it's going to continue on. So it's just
until the machines rise up.
Yes, right.
I'm not one of those people, but I'm sure there are some people listening to me right now that would say, yes, you are right.
Yeah. So I guess the bottom line message, if you're listening to this, is, I mean, the internet is here to stay. You want, and kind of what I mentioned earlier, is you want to be where your people are, so you can take the gospel to them. And so you just need to be aware where your people are. And they're not going to, show up on Sunday morning and say, here's what I did all week and where I spent all my time, online. So you just need to just be aware and keep abreast of these stats and where people are, and just be where they are.
Yeah, absolutely. And our thanks goes out to Lauren Hunter. And she's posted this on Church Tech Today. So if you really want to look at these things in detail, you can just go to churchtechtoday.com. And there's a little post there called The State of the Internet in 2018. And so can dig a little deeper on that. So I think with that, we should wrap things up, eh?
Sounds good.
All right. So if you have feedback, questions, maybe you want to give some feedback on my crazy comments, you can just send us an email, support@streamingchurch.tv, because that's one of our domains, and that's one of the ways you can get a hold of us. We'd love to get your feedback on this podcast. And with that in mind, thank you, Steve, for your time.
You're welcome. It's great.
All right. He's Steve Lacy. I am Phil Thompson. We will catch you next time on another edition of the Church Solutions Podcast. Take care.